Hey, what's up, you guys? It's the Curious Owl here, and I'm sorry for the really bright lights back here. I'm actually recording this a lot earlier than I intended. It's currently like middle of the afternoon right now, so the sun's like really bright. But anyway, this is another book review on the book The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. And just like with Divergent, I had watched the movie before I read the book. I know, so bad of me, but, I had always, wanted to read the books. I just was never, fully invested in it, because when I watched the first Hunger Games movie, I was not really impressed. I didn't, for some reason, I really didn't like, I liked it, but it wasn't 100% interesting to me. It just kind of was okay, it's another dystopian kind of series. Probably was going to be a lot of the same elements, which honestly, now that I've read more dystopian novels lately, I'm sensing this theme and it just seems to work to me. But when I started reading this book, I was a little afraid because I had people tell me that it was really slow to start out with. But once it got to the reaping, it kind of picked up, and then everything was pretty good from there as far as level of intensity, which I disagreed with. I thought that the beginning of the novel up until the reaping was not slow at all. I thought it was a really good way to have the story kind of build up until the reaping, and there were definitely different levels of climaxes in the novel. I honestly really enjoyed this book. I didn't think I was going to at all, kind of with how Divergent was and matched, but I actually enjoyed it more than I thought. This one specifically. I think part of the thing is with this and Divergent, I'm seeing the movie in my head as I'm reading, so I'm picking out things that I remember from the movies, which honestly, there was a lot that it was in the movie that followed the book, but I understand now, in the movies, they had the whole commentary thing throughout the entire Hunger Games, which was never shown in the book, but I understand why they did that, to make sure, to give it more of an actual kind of movie-esque kind of feel. Totally a Hollywood thing, but it's totally understandable to me, at least, so I don't think it distracted too much from the story. I think it just kind of added to it, especially when talking about the Tracker Jackers and some of the berries, the Nightlock berries. I think it really kind of added to the story a little bit that Suzanne Collins didn't incorporate, because this was all from Katniss's perspective. And for those of you who have not read the books, basically the story is about a 16-year-old girl named Katniss. She lives in a society where there are 12 districts. There were 13, but the 13th one was destroyed after a war against the government. And she lives in District 12, which is the poorest district of the entire society of Panem. And every year, kids from the ages of 12 to 18 are put in a drawing for what's called the reaping. And this is to pick 2 people from each district, 1 boy and 1 girl, to go into the Hunger Games, which is a punishment set up from the capital to remind the entire society about what happens when you revolt against the government and you start a war. So as punishment, they take 1 boy and 1 girl from each district between the ages of 12 to 18 and put them in this situation where they fight to the death. And what happens is Katniss ends up taking the place of her sister Prim, who was chosen. She volunteers and goes into the Hunger Games with a boy named Peter Malark, who she very vaguely knows. She explains about something that he did for her when they were younger. And this whole thing is basically, I think this is a really good kind of allegory, in a sense, for, popular culture and society. Because throughout the story, Katniss and Peeta have to play on this kind of story where they're star-crossed lovers. They go into that in the novel, if you haven't read it. But it definitely, I think, pokes fun at a lot of, the popular culture things where how everything has to be dramatic, everything has to be a show. This is a event that is broadcasted throughout the entire society for several weeks, depending on how long it goes. And the people that watch it always want some kind of drama, especially those that live in the richer districts of Panem. So, I think from districts 1 to 3 are like the ones that usually want the most drama because they're the richest ones. And so they basically have to play on this kind of story, but Katniss and Peeta end up being separated during the games, and Katniss is, for the majority of the novel, on her own. I would say about 60% of the games she is on her own until she finds Peeta. As far as like what I really liked about the story, I really liked how Katniss's inner struggles were really portrayed throughout the whole novel. I really, like, it wasn't hard to understand at all what her dilemmas were, especially when it came to figuring out how to get sponsors, how to get people to send her things during the games to help her survive. It was definitely something like I would want to think of, like, okay, like, how am I going to basically get myself to stay alive in this game and get myself back home? And I really like the aspect where she is very much like, although she's a loner, she is very protective of certain people that she really cares about. She's very protective of her younger sister, Prim, which is the reason why she volunteers as tribute to take her place. And just the fact that, like, she is such a hard, like, exterior character, but there are times where you're able to dig deep into her and really find her fears. That is so amazing to me, because in the movie I felt like you really didn't see that. You just saw her hard exterior, which I think is one of the reasons I didn't like the movie so much, was I just saw it as all an act. I saw all of it as, okay, she just is doing what she needs to do to survive, which I get, but I don't see anything really of who she really is, like her fears or anything, whereas in the novel I really could, because, well, obviously you have to do that in order for your audience to actually like your novel character, but I feel like in a movie you have to do that as well. You have to give them those little things that show their inner person. I really liked the book. I really liked the character development of Katniss. I thought it was really believable, and it was really kind of just like relatable in a sense, because I'm a very protective person myself. I'm very protective of my friends and family. If somebody hurts them, I'm gonna want to, like, figure out how I can help and what I can do to get to that person that's hurt them in some way. So I could really empathize with Katniss, and I know for a fact if I was in the Hunger Games, I would probably be one of the first to die, because I am not strong, I'm not quick, I do not know how to survive on my own, like in woods or anything. I'm not a camper, I am not a woods kind of person, so I know I would die right off the bat. So I think if I had Katniss on my team, I might be okay, but if I was just on my own, nope, I'd be dead within the first hour. I'm pretty sure of that, because I don't think I would be able to outwit or outlast or outsurvive anyone. And now all I think of my head is the show Survivor, which was one of my favorite TV shows growing up. But yeah, so that's gonna basically do it for this book review. There wasn't really a whole heck of a lot that I had a problem with. I think if I had any problems with the series, like the franchise in general, it would be the movies, because I think they left out a lot of Katniss's character, like about who she really is and what her fears are, that I thought they really could have played up in the movie a lot more. I've seen Catching Fire, the movie. I was not impressed at all. I wasn't really impressed with the movies that much, other than the fact that, like, they added in the whole commentary aspect with Caesar and the other guy. I can't remember his name at this moment. But yeah, the movies didn't really tickle my fancy in any way. I wasn't really interested in them. I have not seen any of the Mockingjay parts. I don't know if the second part has come out yet on DVD. I don't think it has. But I haven't seen either parts of those because I really just was not interested. I was surprised at the ending of Catching Fire about Peeta, but I'm just, no, I can't watch them. It does not look interesting. The trailers looked, and I heard so many bad things about the movies themselves as far as how they follow the book. I can't force myself to watch those two movies. I won't, because I don't know, like, the second movie kind of left me with a bad taste. I don't know if it was because so many people I actually liked died, but it wasn't like, I don't know. When it comes to action movies, I'm very picky. I'm not a giant fan of action films in the first place, so maybe that was part of it. I don't know. I'm really kind of iffy with it. I really can't pin one thing down about it I didn't like. Something about it just didn't really sit well with me. But yeah, that's going to do it for this book review of The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. If you guys liked it, please do give it a big thumbs up, and if you're not already and you'd like to be, hit that button down below and subscribe to become an owlet in our flock. And before I go, I'm going to let you guys know of the next book I will be doing for my next book review. So I'm going to go off the dystopian train for a little while. I'm kind of getting to a point where I think this dystopian's going to be put on the back burner for a little bit. And the next book that I'm going to be reading is going to be If I Stay by Gail Forman, I believe is her name. I am so excited to read this book because I heard so many good things about it, but I'm a little scared too because I know it's really, really sad. I have not seen this movie yet, so I don't think I'll be able to do a book to movie review for this, but if I do, I will incorporate it in my book review. I don't know if I'm going to do it at this point, but I'm going to be starting that up on Tuesday, and I should have the book review up for you guys next Saturday. So yeah, but I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.